Herbie Hancock joins Tanya Hart Sunday night at 7:30 on Coming Together.
I, Ronald Reagan, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
the
office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
With those words, Ronald Wilson Reagan begins another 4 years in the White House. That story next on the Evening Edition.
Live from Wbz-Tv 4, the station New England turns to. This is Eyewitness News. With David Whitman, Gene Blake, Barry Burbank, and Mike Dowling.
Good evening. It's now official. President Ronald Reagan has begun his second term as President of the United States.
And while crews battled sub-freezing temperatures preparing for tomorrow's public festivities, the President and Vice President were sworn in today in the warmth of the White House during a private ceremony. Beforehand this morning, several thousand people rang from cabinet members to local parishioners, braved the elements to attend a national prayer service at the Washington Cathedral. Reverend Billy Graham, a longtime personal friend of the Reagans, led that ceremony. In his remarks, Graham told Reagan and Bush their leadership during the coming years will be an awesome responsibility for them.
The next 4 years, many of you here today will have to make decisions of state, perhaps greater than any of those made by your predecessors. Because of modern technology, you will hold in your hands the destiny not only of America, but the entire world. There's a mandate that is higher than the ballot box, and it comes from God.
2 hours after the service at the White House, 96 friends, members of Congress, and family members witnessed the brief swearing-in ceremony with Vice President Bush first taking the oath of office.
George Herbert Walker Bush,
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Then it was the President's turn. Placing his left hand on his mother's Bible, Mr. Reagan raised his right hand and recited the same oath of office George Washington uttered nearly 200 years ago.
I, Ronald Reagan, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
the
office of President of the United States.
the office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend
the
Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
My congratulations, sir.
Looking very pleased, the newly sworn-in president announced he was going to kiss his wife, and so he did. Tomorrow, the president will ride up Pennsylvania Avenue to the Capitol, where the ceremony will be repeated, and Mr. Reagan will deliver his inaugural address. Gene?
Thousands of people have converged on the nation's capital for the inaugural festivities and will take in tomorrow's public swearing-in ceremony. But today, most of them, including a delegation from Massachusetts, had to watch today's private ceremony from their hotel rooms. Eyewitness newsman Dennis Kauf talked with some people who made the trip from the Bay State to celebrate both today's private and tomorrow's public swearing-in ceremonies.
To Ronald Reagan and the next 4 years.
Right on. Right on. 4 more years.
4 more years.
4 more years.
It means a lot to us who worked so hard for the president during the last campaign. And of course, it means a continuation of the effort that began some years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, when those of us who felt that things had gone too far to the left.
Take anything away from being there tomorrow and watching it, the official formal ceremony?
I don't think so. This was a formal ceremony. It had to be done, but the excitement of all the crowds and the enthusiasm adds to it, I think. And
you're still looking forward to it?
I am still looking forward to it, and I hope the weather will be good enough for us to be able to take it.
Dennis Kauf will have a full report on today's festivities tonight on Nightcast. Well, the Gremlins are having a heyday, or actually a lot of them this winter. It seems as though we all get geared up for a blizzard-like blast, and then it takes the first bus out to sea. Barry's in the weather office to tell us that's what happened again this weekend. Barry, what did happen?
Well, Gene, it looks like we're stuck in a rut. It's very difficult to get a snowstorm this winter, it seems, while Nova Scotia keeps getting clobbered by one storm after another. Unfortunately, this one missed. I blew the forecast this morning. We'll have more on that shortly. The radar right now shows that the snow is mainly over the Cape. It's mostly in the light form. They had about 2 to 5 inches on parts of the Cape, according to all the observations we have coming into the weather office right now. And as I see it, skies have cleared out in Boston, so there's no threat of any snow this evening. If you have any plans, don't worry about it. You can go out and enjoy yourself. It will turn colder, and there will be gradual and increasing wind chill, so we'll have temperatures feeling like there will be several notches below zero as the evening goes along, but there will not be any more snow around Boston. I'll be back in about 10 minutes with a complete forecast for the next couple of days. Now back to Gene and David.
Okay, they're playing tricks on you, Barry, but we'll hear the full forecast in just a few minutes.
A runaway barge loaded with 20,000 barrels of gasoline, that's 100,000 gallons, drifted for 14 hours today between Block Island and the Rhode Island coast. That barge broke loose from its tug, the tug Emily S., last night in high seas and strong winds. The fear was the barge would run aground on the island and dump its cargo into the water. Coast Guard vessels joined in the chase, 3 of them. The seas calmed a bit and the barge changed course. Finally, the Emily S. was able to catch up with the Runaway. An unidentified deckhand scrambled aboard the ice-covered barge and reattached the line. The tug and the barge are now headed toward a Texaco terminal in Providence, which was their original destination. Gene?
Still to come on tonight's evening edition, the downtown parking garage is now a parking lot, and we'll have a look at the implosion in a minute.
We'll also tell you what a Belmont family is sacrificing for the spirit of New England. And still later, the Celtics are back in first after rolling over the Sixers. We'll have the highlights with Mike Dowling coming up.
Every year they come, ready to make their mark on the world. However, getting ahead in the real world takes more than an education. It takes an education that works. That's what you can get from Northeastern University. Northeastern's cooperative plan of education gives you a head start on your career because you'll alternate periods of classroom study with career-related paid employment. Co-op gives you the experience you need to find a good job while you earn an average of $6,200 yearly. And Northeastern offers you more than 70 quality undergraduate programs, each with a co-op plan. Remember, you'll need more than good grades to leave your mark on the world. You'll need an education that works.
Welcome to the company.
To find out how you can get an education that works, call Northeastern for a brochure today at 1-800-228-8000. 1-800-228-8000. Northeastern University. Education that works.
While trends in automotive design come and go, Jaguar remains true to its heritage of grace and distinction. Inside, the Jaguar's crafted with fine leather, exotic wood, and sophisticated electronics. Perfected through years of development, today's XJ6 is the best Jaguar ever built. Jaguar, a blending of art and machine. Test drive the XJ6 at your Jaguar dealer.
Don't miss Levitt's Super Sale. Levitt's nationwide annual inventory sale. Everything in stock is on sale, and it's going on now.
A 12-story parking garage in downtown Boston came down in a thundering cloud of dust early this morning. A Maryland demolition expert supervised the detonation, or as it is known in the demolition trade, the implosion of the Fort Hill garage to pave the way for a major construction project. Eyewitness News reporter Mike Macklin was on hand for the big blast.
The Fort Hill garage looked like the scene of the big story of this Super Bowl Sunday. But the crowd that braved frigid early morning temperatures and assembled along Atlantic Avenue did not turn out to see a football game. They came to see this mural and the garage that carried it crumble to the ground.
What is it about it that's so attractive?
I don't really know, just the explosion, I guess. Just to see it come down.
Came
Very good.
New Hampshire.
You came from New Hampshire?
Salem, New Hampshire. Spent the whole night here, all night, just to see it.
Why?
I went to the Madison, and I thought that was fantastic. And when I heard that this thing was gone, I says, well, it's not as big and it's not as fancy, but still, it's going to make a big noise, a lot of smoke.
The immediate area of the implosion was off limits. Boston and MDC police kept spectators a safe distance away and halted traffic on the central artery just prior to the detonation. At precisely 8:30, what everyone showed up to see occurred right on schedule. Within seconds, the garage came crashing down in a blinding rush of dust. When the dust cleared, what had been a 12-story building was one big, neat pile of rubble. The expert who managed the implosion thought it went just fine.
The whole idea of explosive demolition is to get a building on the ground to facilitate removal later of debris, and we're really concerned with breakage. And I was concerned that the building wouldn't lay out far enough. We were trying to lay it out so they could haul it away easily, and that happened, so I'm just tickled to death, and now I get to go home to Baltimore to warm weather.
Was it worth it?
Oh, it was definitely worth it. Most definitely.
First time you ever seen that?
No, I watched the Madison as well.
How does this compare?
Not quite as dramatic, but still dramatic enough.
My office is right next door, and we want to see if it's still standing afterwards.
With the implosion over, now comes the job of cleaning up the mess left behind. Once that's completed, comes the job of building the twin cylindrical towers of International Place. They will become the newest feature on the Boston skyline. In Boston, Mike Macklin, TV4 Eyewitness News.
Now, that is a photographer's nightmare, but good job today. The blast littered the ground with old parking tickets from the structure, but it only broke a couple of windows in nearby buildings. The snow and frigid temperatures did not keep pro-life and pro-choice supporters quiet today. Throughout the country, both sides on the abortion question rallied to fight the opposition. Eyewitness News reporter Liz Gonzalez said the upcoming 12th anniversary of the Supreme Court decision legalizing abortion drew more than 1,000 pro-life supporters to Faneuil Hall.
It was a celebration of life. Hundreds of men, women, and clergy gathered to rejuvenate their drive to stop abortions. On a serious note, evangelical pro-life advocate Frankie Schaefer warned them not to rely solely on Congress for help in stemming abortions.
Washington, to solve this problem, we may wait till hell freezes over.
Schaefer urged them to picket and boycott clinics and doctors who perform abortions.
I cannot imagine the circumstances in which a woman who was a Christian, who was a pro-lifer, or indeed even a civilized human being, would want to go to a gynecologist that also does abortions. I would prefer to have Charles Manson deliver my next baby than an abortionist.
These pro-life supporters came from different churches across the Boston area. In fact, Schaefer credits the abortion movement with welding together this ecumenical effort. If the unity displayed inside Faneuil Hall has indeed been sparked by the abortion industry, then abortion rights advocates insist that the increasing pro-life movement has only served to make their pro-choice movement more determined to preserve women's rights.
Women must decide our fate, not the church, not the state.
So the controversy and the picketing continues on both sides.
Since we've had the right to abortion, people haven't felt the need to protest. But since they've been chipping away at the rights, forcing clinics to close, as they did in Brockton, we feel it's very important that people know that we're here and they're willing to fight to defend our right to have an abortion.
The pro-choice supporters selected the Catholic Archbishop's residence for this morning's demonstration to protest Archbishop Bernard Law's outspoken criticism of abortion. Liz Gonzalez, TV4 Eyewitness News.
The actual anniversary of the Supreme Court decision on Roe versus Wade is Tuesday, the 22nd, with many more demonstrations expected on both sides.
Only 18 hours remain now before the Wbz-Tv Oxfam America relief plane takes off for Ethiopia. The flight, dubbed the Spirit of New England, will leave Boston at noon loaded with food and medicine for drought victims in Ethiopia. One family, the Browns from Everett, are making a big sacrifice to help the relief effort. Larry Brown had planned to make a 6-year dream come true and take his 2 daughters to Disney World. But 12-year-old Carrie suggested they postpone the trip and donate the $1,000 they would have spent to the Spirit of New England.
Ethiopia needs the money more than I need the trip and everything. So I just decided to give it to them.
And I looked at Janelle and I asked Janelle, and she looked at Carrie and kind of gave it an okay. And from then on...
Were you flabbergasted? I mean, out of the mouths of babes, as they say?
I thought it was great. I thought I was going to heaven.
The Browns will present a $1,000 money order to Oxfam tomorrow. So far, the campaign has raised more than $116,000. And if you would like to contribute to the WBZ Oxfam Spirit of New England Airlift, you can call toll-free 1-800-225-5800. Again, the number is 1-800-225-5800. And tomorrow, Eyewitness newsman Charlie Austin leaves for Ethiopia to report on the distribution of the supplies from New England.
Great day for football. We had the Snow Bowl. At least we had one out in Sudbury today. I guess now they're having one out in Cape Cod. And, of course, you got that other game later on another network.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I tell you one thing as far as I'm concerned. I'm sorry my alarm clock went off this morning. But we'll forge ahead and talk about the cold air arriving anyway.
Got the cold right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was not your fault and you're forgiven, so stay with us. And you too.
Where do I go in New England for outstanding food and dancing? There is one place in Boston with a buffet that is absolutely one of a kind. Makes me hungry just thinking about it. A smashing place to meet after work or dance the night away. On Sunday, they put on a brunch that is absolutely first-rate. Where do I go for all this? Why, the Commons at Copley Place. Because what happens here is anything but commonplace.
That Weight Watchers has added an absolutely gorgeous pepperoni pizza to their delicious pizza family. So how could there be any bad news?
Remember, the all-new 85 Subaru is becoming so popular in New England, you can be tough when it comes to dealing. Right. Don't let them push you around. No. That's my final offer.
I was hoping to get more for my car.
Take it or leave it.
I'm going to get that Datsun.
Okay. Wait a minute. It's a deal. I mean, ignore him. First day on the job. He's just a kid.
I thought we weren't supposed to be so easy. Subaru, the New England solution.
Hello. Who is this? Hey, Jim. Yeah, it sounds like the party's really getting rolling. Oh, no, I'll be here a while. Hey, let me talk to the bachelor. Hey, Bobby. No, I told you, I can't.
After 5 weeknights, a 5-minute call anywhere in eastern Massachusetts costs less than $1.
You know, I bet I could be there in an hour.
All right, here's Barry, Captain Deep Freeze.
You know, I had so many calls this morning, people saying all the geese that were flying south, 150 to 200 Canadian geese, many callers came in.
South.
I think because the geese got to me, so I pushed the panic button and went for the snow.
Showed up on the radar.
Showed up on the radar, right. Let's talk about some weather across the nation if you're planning on traveling tomorrow. And at New York City, it'll be cold there as well, partly sunny and only 13 degrees. Philadelphia, same story, about 14 there. Washington, for the ceremonies down there, partly sunny and 20. Atlanta, sunny, 26. Can you stand that? Orlando, partly sunny. Wow, 39 degrees for high down there. Chicago will have a few snow flurries, and the high in Chicago will be 15 degrees. And then on to Houston, it'll be cold there as well. Houston only 33 and partly sunny. And Denver may have a little bit of snow, 23. Partly sunny in Seattle and about 48. And partly sunny in Los Angeles, and it'll be 64 degrees there. Let's take a look at the satellite picture this morning at 5 o'clock and see what happened in the next 12 hours as we put the systems into motion. The cloudiness started percolating. It started to bend around a little bit, but didn't bend around enough. And everything started moving out too quickly. So that's the reason everything just kind of fell apart and fizzled on us. This morning it looked like everything was starting to gel. Pressures were falling rapidly. The thing was bending around a little bit. But it just started to take off at express train speed, and everything got strung out this way instead of blossoming this way, so that's why we really didn't get the snow. So you snow lovers, hang in there a little bit longer. So Nova Scotia is going to get another beating as that storm really intensifies and blossoms into a monstrous storm up there. Meantime, it's going to pull the frigid air into New England. Now, let's take a look at the national weather map, see what's happening. We do see that storm developing offshore, but look at these temperatures this afternoon. 7 below near Memphis. 17 below Chicago. Incidentally, the lowest temperature ever recorded in Chicago this morning, 27 below, Goes back through the record books 113 years. But here's a little line right here. North of the line, it's actually warmer up in here, 10 to 20 degrees above zero. So this air is going to circulate around, and gradually we're going to get our warming from there. But tonight it's going to be a chilly night ahead. 20s and 30s, even way down in deep southern Florida. 0 to 10 in here and below zero across much of the country. Only warm spots will be out west. Now, latest reports show that it's clear skies in here, temperatures dropping into the single numbers in the western suburbs, some snow lingering over the Cape where they got about 2 to 5 inches, a few flurries showing up in the Berkshires right now. Sky sequence for tomorrow morning will have mainly sunny skies, a few clouds floating by, about 4 in Boston, 0 in the western suburbs, 9 over the Cape, and during the afternoon it will recover to about 15 in Boston, most of the clouds stacked in the mountains to the north and west with a few snow flurries. Here's my forecast now. Going this way for tonight, going for clear weather, partly cloudy to clear, clearing down over the Cape, except maybe lingering clouds and flurries in the outer Cape. Increasing winds and dropping down to 3 below to 8 above. So the cold weather, which has been out west, is going to be modified as it moves into this area. Sunshine and patchy cloudiness tomorrow. Flurries are mostly over the mountains and the Cape. Westerly breeze, 8 to 16 degrees, but we'll feel much below zero, at least 20 to 30 below. Partly cloudy, breezy with mountain snow flurries tomorrow night, 0 to 10. And on Tuesday, varying amounts of cloudiness and sunshine. Again, most flurries in the mountains, but a warming trend, getting all the way back up to 21 to 26 by Tuesday afternoon. So another one goes by the boards.
That's okay. That cold is certainly going to get us.
That will not go by the boards.
Thanks a lot, Barry. Gene?
Okay. I understand there's some kind of a big football game on. I know nothing about it. All I know is I watch the Celtics.
That's right. Don't worry about the football game. I don't think it's... I think Ronnie's still flipping the coin anyway. So. Celtics had a big win, and we got all the highlights for you.
All right.
Okay, stay with us. Mike is next with the sports. We come back.
Beyond all the islands of the Caribbean, there is a land on which the sun rises first. Poised between the sea and the ocean with sparkling clear waters. Beyond your expectations. Beyond your dreams. Beyond all the islands of the Caribbean, there is Barbados.
Don't you know that it's worth every treasure on earth to be young at heart? For as rich as you are, it's much better by far to be young at heart.
A healthy life is a happy one. Make Mazola part of your healthy diet. Mazola is 100% pure corn oil, low in saturated fats with no cholesterol.
You have a head start if you are among the very young at heart.
What's the biggest difference between the Volkswagen Vanagon and those new minivans? Well, in the Vanagon, 7 people can take a vacation. And, of course, in a minivan, 7 people can take a vacation. They just can't take very much else. Vanagon, it's not a car, it's a Volkswagen.
No one is denying it's a big game, but the Celtics had a big game. They're back in first place.
Well, I'm telling you what, this was a big one. They kind of needed, especially after Friday night's dismal loss in Indiana. They came out. They did not rebound the Sixers, but I'm telling you what, they took it to them. Sixers had a lot more turnovers. Moses with a miss. Look at Charles Tubb Barkley with the rebound. Second effort. He puts in 2. They were up 20-19. Billy Cunningham should have been happy. That was one of the few things that went right for Philly all day. Chief on the outlet after the Tony miss. Tony was just about non-existent. McHale puts it in. They're up 34-28 at the end of 1. Dr. J rejected by McHale. For some unknown reason, he puts up a 3-pointer. I don't think he's ever made one. Ainge with a nice save to McHale. Flip off to Bird. Bird stops. Nobody open. Pop for 2 right there. 44-30 after a 12-2 run. And when he jammed over J, 56-49 at halftime, Celtics by 7. Second half, Celts on the move. Great break. Chief to Larry to Max. Yes, the Max on the drive. Look at this. I get him down. I give it to Larry. Chief underneath for the jam. Nice play. Sixers made 1 run. Look at this jam by, how long did he delay up there by Tubb Barkley? 70-67, but Chief says, don't try it again. I'll put it in your face. DJ to Ainge, both played good games, 14 apiece. And down the stretch, it was Larry. Time and time again, this time 3-point land. and they made the difference. He made the difference, 113-97.
Key baskets from going toward the end, and that enabled them to continue to have the lead increase instead of decrease.
Those players fantastic down the stretch, and you know, they wanted to work the clock and take whatever shot they got, and you know, it was a shot with little time on the clock from range, and they sank it. So what can you say? That's lights out.
Well, Dennis hit a key shot, and Danny made some key plays down the stretch. Like I said, they was trying to zone up and double team, and they was trying to make us move the ball, and they was trying to trap us, make us make bad passes. But if you got wide open 15 or 20 footers and you're hitting them, you got to keep shooting them, and that's what happened down the stretch.
Celtics win it by 16. Last night, Pistons and Nets. First quarter, Calvin Ramsey to Albert King, up to Buck Williams for the jam. Williams had 25. Mike Kaminsky, playing some of the best ball of his career, misses the hook. Bill Lambier the rebound. John Long to Kelly Tripucka. Score is tied 55 at half. Late in the game, Michael Ray Richardson to Buck Williams for the hook, and that ties it up. Now watch what happens. 1:07 apiece, 4 seconds left. Isaiah misses it. Bill Lambier somehow gets the rebound and the tip. Detroit wins by 2 points. The Pacers try to stay hot after beating the Celtics. This one, Vern Fleming in on the drive, but Michael Jordan, that's right, you got it, 38 points, 2 right there. Bulls lose, though, 110-107. The Pacers win their second in a row. Yesterday in college basketball action, Georgetown remained unbeaten, and Boston College lost to another Big East team, St. John's, 66-59. Today in South Bend, DePaul, Notre Dame, David Rivers, a freshman guard, had 21 for the Irish. Watch out for this guy. Nice little deal. In for 2. DePaul's Tyrone Corbin with the block here. Up to Kenny Patterson, who lays it in for the DePaul Blue Demons. Tim Kempton, all 225 pounds of him, tries to save the out of bounds on this one. Look out. Ends up on the scorer's table. A couple of mess papers. Hey, clear out of the way, right? So much for the stats. Patterson with the pass to Dallas Comagese, the dunk. Blue Demons never look back. They win 71-66. Well, the black cloud continues to hang over the Boston Bruins. I'm telling you, how much bad luck can you have in one season? Not only did they lose last night to the Quebec Nordiques 4-3, they also lost one of the few guys who's playing really well this year, Charlie Simmer. 3 to 6 weeks he's out with a broken jaw. Injury happened in the second period of last night's game in the Coliseum. Wilf Paymont hit Simmer in the face. Somehow the referee missed the play. Paymont escaped without a penalty. In the first period, Keith Crowder had given the Bruins a 1-0 lead and the rebound of a Tom Fergus shot. It was Brent Ashton who got the next 2.
Gets by Goring. Wheels it in for Bell. Bell moves in front. Score! Ashton!
The Bruins scored with under 3 minutes in the game. Tom Fergus again, but that was it. Bruins begin their 7-game Adams Division string with a 4-3 loss. So the Bruins continue to have bad luck, which is unfortunate. And tonight we'll have highlights of a football game.
It's a good deal for everybody. They don't have to watch the whole thing, just get the highlights here.
Yeah, everybody thought sports was going to be the big story today. Could be weather. They apparently have canceled the inaugural parade tomorrow down in Washington, facing a wind chill factor of 30 below, and the president will take the public oath indoors because of that cold temperature. So it's almost a situation of why do it? But we will have coverage, of course, tomorrow on the network of whatever they do, indoors, outdoors, what have you. But it's the first time in my memory, and first time, I guess, in history, they've actually moved everything indoors because of the weather.
It is the first time in history, and we will, of course, have a full report for you on that decision tonight on the Nightcast at 11 o'clock. And we hope you'll join us. Have a good Sunday night.
And considering it's Super Sunday, we really thank you for tuning in at 6.
Bet.
Best news ever celebration at your Renault Jeep dealer. Celebrating the best sales year ever for Renault and Jeep combined. With price rollbacks on award-winning Renault Alliance sedan and sporty Renault Encore. See America's lowest price convertible and take advantage of factory-to-dealer incentives on Jeep Cherokee and luxurious Jeep Wagoneer. Hurry, now more than ever, the ones to watch are the ones to buy.
America's best are at your New England AMC Jeep Renault dealers.